And then
His agenda pulled up, which is kind of going to overview what we're going to discuss today. In terms of questions, we're going to handle the questions at the end just to ensure that we get through the entire agenda that Doug has laid out for us. So to introduce you to Doug, I've known Doug a long time. We were roommates in college, and Doug has created a timing business called Blue Ridge Timing. And he is a pretty avid user of Agee and really done a good job of figuring out how the integration between RunSignUp and Agee works. He's also a professor at Lynchburg College, so he's obviously very good at droning on and doing boring presentations. So we'll let him do his presentation today. Again, this is Doug Thomasy from Blue Ridge Timing. So Doug, you want to say hello?
Yeah, thanks, Brian. Thanks for that kind introduction, and also for giving me the opportunity to kind of share some of the different components that I've figured out with RunSignUp and Agee and how they kind of mesh together. So welcome, everybody. Hope everybody can hear me okay. And what I'd like to do is just kind of give an overview of what I would be going through today. And basically just give some quick background of things that I typically do leading up to an event. And then my main focus today will be on the registration aspect, or create an event, sorry, then a registration aspect of the event, and most importantly, I think what all timers are concerned with anyway, would be the results. So I know currently in AG there's a few concerns, especially if you read up on the forum, specifically with the division breakdowns. I think a few people, not a few, more than a few, would like to see direct integration with age group divisions with the AG software and also RunSignUp. But thanks to the help of some of the RunSignUp staff, including Brian and Matt Sinclair, we kind of have a quick workaround that you can have division results for your participants at the event site and also online. So let's start from the beginning. Like Brian said, I've known Brian a long time, college roommates. We ran together on the college team, and I was actually the head coach at Lynchburg College for 5 years, but some things came up, family situations and things, so I kind of got into the timing world, and that's where I kind of spend most of my weekends now. So I do a lot of track and field events, and also branching off and doing cross country and road races now, which I think road races seem to be the most, I don't know, most fun anyway, and obviously the least amount of time. But in any event, what I'd like to go through, kind of leading up to an event, so we'll start with the snapshot of an event, and I wanted to really leave it as a snapshot just to kind of go through a few things. So, I don't know, you come up with a contract, you talk and discuss things with your race director, and then basically leading up to the event, you might want to monitor some of the registrations and then also some of the important deadlines. And the nice thing with RunSignUp is like there's no specific registration deadline, or at least I don't use a registration deadline, so my registration stays open until essentially the start of the event. So that could be a good selling point for you and marketing of the races, because you want to have the race directors bringing in as much revenue as possible. So if you say you're never going to close off registration, then you know that's the most money that a race director could bring in. So typically for a Saturday event, what I would do is on say Thursday at midnight, go in and assign bib numbers, and from there give the race director all day Friday to kind of compile some of their race packets if they want to do that. And anybody who had entered after say Thursday at midnight would then be pretty clear cut in terms of not being assigned a bib number, and you can kind of go on your way there. So no one's really ever missed, but it makes life easier and kind of limits your race day registration because more and more people can do it by themselves online. So with that said, in terms of like bib and chip assignment, so bib numbers, I typically don't do anything with bib numbers until that, we'll say 2 days before race day. But at 2 days before race day, you can go into RunSignUp and they have that automatically assigned bib numbers, or you can go through and assign them alphabetically or whatever option that you would like to use. I'm sure for most of us that's a pretty self-explanatory concept. If you want to, like, say, for instance, assign bib numbers at the time of registration, you can also do that. There's countless options you have there. And then chip assignment, typically, I don't know how you all might handle this, but what I would do, or what I like to do, is get my hands on the bibs before race day. So let's say like 2 weeks out, assign all my chips, adhere them back to the back side of the bibs, assign them, program them, and then send them off to the race directors so they have them in hand at least a week, if not 2 weeks prior to the event. Now moving on from there, the week of information, I always like to send an email, say a week or so before the event, because I think most of us have gotten burned at some point saying, the race director comes up to you and says, oh, well, the is not what we decided on. Well, it's up to you at that point to fix it, but I think a quick email the race on the week before the race could save you a lot of aggravation. So for instance, just a confirmation email just saying, hey, what's the start time? Just want to confirm that. And, are the age division breakdowns still 19 and under, 20-29, 30-39, just a quick on-site and overview there. All right, so now on to the more important thing. So that's hopefully a quick enough introduction to everything, but let's get to some of this integration. So for instance, or first off anyway, when you go to create an event, and hopefully everybody can see this all right, when you go to create an event, whether you're going to use RunSignUp or a different registration platform, you have different, I guess, methods on how to go about creating an event. But ultimately, if you're an avid Agee user like I am, when creating an event, it's very important to create an event first in RunSignUp and then pull the event in from RunSignUp into Agee. If you create an event in Agee, the event ID and race is not linked to the event on RunSignUp, and that way when you go to publish results, no results will be published because the events aren't linked together. So I'll say that again. What you want to do when creating an event, you must first create the event in RunSignUp, and then let me close down some of my windows here, and we'll go through a few options here anyway. So I have Agee opened. Sorry, I have my dog in the background here too. But with Agee open, what you would do is go to Create Race, and you go to From Account, and then RunSignUp. And then I have a whole bunch of races here, and what you might do is if, say, you're going to have a race, I think I did like a chip start, or I was testing something out the other day, but I actually don't even see it on here. But ultimately, these are all the races that are currently in my RunSignUp account. So if you did not yet create the event, then you would not be able to see the event here. But in any case, if you were to check one of these boxes and then hit Add Check Races, it would then pop up in your race screen. So, oh yeah, I didn't make the event in RunSignUp, that's why I didn't see it. But basically, here's my event listings. And I think the last race I timed was the Pleasant Valley Twilight Challenge up in New Jersey. So if I go to that, let me get back on track here. Okay, so in essentially creating a race, that's all you would need to do. So again, if I go to my RunSignUp account, which is here, I'll wait for some of this to load. I have all my races that I've already created. So for instance, here we'll see like July 9th, I have my summer extravaganza. That race is already created in RunSignUp, and I can't emphasize enough, you have to create the event in RunSignUp first. Then you would go to Agee. You would go to your Create Race, From Account, RunSignUp. Hopefully it's not too fast. And that's on the 9th of July. So you see here how it says like 10K and 5K race and run. These are just the names within the race wizard of the specific event. So for instance, I have that event coming up in July. They have a 5K, they have a 10K, and they have a 5K walk. So with that said, you have 3 different events here, and that's what they're named in RunSignUp: 10K race, 5K run, 5K fun walk. So for instance, there, let's just go ahead and pull that one in. So if I add that race in, you see you get an error message or not, a message box pop up here. And what number do you want to start with in the 10K race? You'll get this message if bib numbers were not already assigned, which with this race being just about a month away, I have yet not assigned any bib numbers. So I'll just go ahead and start with number 1. And then if I go down to this 10K race, what I see here are all the participants who have entered into that race so far. So
Doug, if you didn't, if you hadn't assigned bib numbers and you just did what you did, would that sync back to RunSignUp?
Yeah. So if you go now, if you were to hit sync, it'll probably give you. So it comes up with this. So update website. And I was going to get to this a little bit later, but it's all right to hit it now. But if you were to update the website participant list, I always hit no here, and the reason I would hit no is basically a lot of my syncing takes place within like the last minutes of leading up to an event. And if you hit yes, and I have, I don't know, maybe 100 or so people in this event, it takes a little while for the syncing to occur. And if you're like a minute before race time and you're syncing participants, I would never hit yes here. So I'm gonna hit no for the time being. Well, let me hit yes, and you'll see how long it's gonna take here. So what it does is it's gonna go through. This one is actually pretty quick because I have a pretty good internet connection right now. So I updated about 74 reports, and now if we go back to our RunSignUp, and that race, participants, view participants, and you see the bib numbers are automatically there, even though I hadn't done anything in RunSignUp. So to answer Brian's question, yeah, if you pull in bib numbers without assigning them in RunSignUp and then update that website, it'll go back and whatever changes you have made in Agee are now made in the RunSignUp page as well. But
and so would you say
again,
your preference is to assign bibs in RunSignUp is generally your preference?
Yeah, the way I look at it is I always have RunSignUp as my main database. So obviously there's a database in Agee, but I always consider RunSignUp to be my main database. And the reason I would state that is because often at a lot of my road races that I attend, especially if you have like an A to B, so if you have a different start and finish line, you might be using 2 different computers. You want to have the same participants on every computer. Every computer can pull from RunSignUp, whereas if you had your main database being a computer or a laptop, then you kind of have to thumb drive it over, and it just takes a little more time. So for my preference, what I would do is go to your RaceDay, your bibs, assign bibs and chips, which is really just bibs. So here I would say the 10K, and let's say I'm going to start this at we'll say 1,000 just for the 10K. And oh, that was the wrong button. Sorry, too much clicking around here. So assign. No, that's why. Assign bibs and chips. I clicked the wrong event there. So start at 1,000 just for the 10K race. And I hope I'm not going too fast here. So click my event. I have my 10,000. I'm going to overwrite my existing bib numbers. So now if you realized, or if you recall, when we first pulled in that event, the bib numbers were not assigned either in RunSignUp or in Agee. But then Agee had that message pop up saying, hey, do you want to assign bib numbers? I said, yes, let's start at number 1. Then I updated the participant list, so now RunSignUp was on the same page as my Agee software. But now this is what I typically do. So 2 days out or so of the race time, I would go in, I would assign my bib numbers according to whatever the race director would have liked. I'm going to assign bib numbers here. And now if I go back to my race and sync this, notice now all my bib numbers are 1 through 76 or so, 74. If I sync this back, what should happen? I'm going to hit no here. So my bib numbers didn't change. And this is kind of somewhat of a drawback with Agee. So bib numbers didn't change initially, but actually they did change. And it's kind of hard to tell, but if you close out of Agee and then reopen Agee, and this is kind of, you learn along the way. No, this isn't working out how it should be working out. So let's go back and make sure things are right in the participants. Yeah, so see, bib numbers are in the 1,000 range, but for whatever reason in the Agee software, they're not pulling in as what they should be. Let me try and sync again. Okay, so this is what I was hoping for. And with Agee, you have these somewhat sticky points that the database doesn't automatically refresh. So again, at first, we assigned bib numbers 1 through 74 in Agee. Then I didn't like that because typically I would assign bib numbers in RunSignUp. So I went back to RunSignUp and said, hey, let's reassign the bib numbers starting at 1,000. So now, Agee doesn't automatically refresh it. That's why I thought closing out of Agee and coming back in, my bibs would be automatically redone. But they're not. So what I did there is I synced, and now you have an option. And anytime there's a difference between the data in RunSignUp and the data in Agee, you'll get this kind of error message. And like I always say, I keep RunSignUp as my master database always. So I want this as my bib number 1073 because that's my true bib range. And you notice everything else is the same. The name's the same, the sex is the same, the gender, or the runner type, date of birth, email, everything is exactly the same. And except for the bib number because I made that change in RunSignUp. And this is another good thing to keep in mind. Let's say on race day that someone forgot their bib number, and let's say they had a packet pickup on a Friday, they left their bib number at home, and now you need to reassign a bib number. So if someone was number 1 and their bib number 1 is sitting at home, they come up to the registration table saying, hey, I left my bib number at home, what can I do? Just give them the next bib number in line, and then you can go into RunSignUp. You can update their participant account and their bib number, just give them whatever number you had next in line, save the changes, and when you synced it, you'll get one of these error messages, but then it's that easy to say this is the true value and you're good to go. So again, I'm going to keep RunSignUp as my master database. I'm going to do this for all 74 people in the race. Hit continue. and wait for a second. There's no need to update the participant list now because RunSignUp was the master, so I'm going to hit no. And this is, again, like this is what is a sticky point in Agee, that the bib numbers are not automatically redone. So I'm going to X out of the screen, and if I open the re-race again, see all the bib numbers are now changed. That's the way to like refresh a database, which, I don't know, through my experimentation and, you know, backyard testing, those are little tricks to learn along the way. But okay, so hopefully I didn't get too far off topic there, but we kind of covered a few different things all in one topic. All right, Brian, we good? All right, I think we're all right.
Yeah, I think that's good, Doug. I wanted to kind of keep quiet on that one because I thought that's a really good topic to discuss.
Okay. All right, so let's kind of get back on track now and get back to our agenda. Let's see where we're at with the agenda. So creating an event. So I can't emphasize enough, do it in, make sure you create the event in RunSignUp first and then pull it over into Agee. And now the next topic here is the overview / naming of the events. And one thing to keep in mind is if you go back to that event that I just created, say we called it the 10K race. And the reason why it's named the 10K race and not say like the summer extravaganza. So I'm actually timing the summer extravaganza 10K race and 5K run / fun walk. So one thing that if you go to the event screen, if you were to change this and summer extravaganza 10K, so any changes you make now, it's okay, because I don't know, on race day, I'd rather see like the summer extravaganza or like, you know, the 2016 summer extravaganza on all my reports in Agee. But if you make a change here, it will not influence the results going to RunSignUp. So everything will still be just fine with the integration and results being pushed up to RunSignUp. So things are just fine. But again, the reason why you have 10K race here, and see, things can get a little bit tricky, especially when you go to create a new event. So if you recall here, so if I'm trying to create a new event, if you notice, there's a lot of 5K runs, 5K walk, 10K run, 10K. So you have a lot of the same events, and the only way you could distinguish between events is really the date. But if you're timing multiple events on one day, this could be problematic because you might have, say, 2 5Ks on the same day, even the same start time, so you might pull in the wrong participants. So one thing to watch out for here, and to get around this, if you notice at the bottom, well, let's sort this by date. So I have a 5K run and a 5K fun walk. So they're both named the 5K, but let's alter the 5K run so that when I'm in Agee, this looks different, and I can see like, oh, this is a summer extravaganza. So let me X out of here. I'm going to go back to my race wizard. And if you go to your events, this is what you're actually seeing in Agee, these event names. So like your 10K race, your 5K run, and your 5K fun walk. So I'm going to change this and make this the 2016 summer extravaganza 5K run. I hope the race director isn't mad at me for changing this, but we'll go back and change it later. Okay, so now what I'm going to see is I should see this exact title when I go to create the event in Agee, rather than just saying 5K or 10K. So at the bottom, always make sure you save it. So now if I go back to my Agee, create race, firm account, RunSignUp, so the date. So now you can see here that I have, instead of just a 5K, I have the 2016 summer extravaganza 5K run. So that way, you know, it really kind of does matter what you name these things in your RunSignUp. It doesn't really matter, but it helps you out when you want to go and see exactly what race you're talking about in Agee. All right, so another good thing with this is when you publish the results. So for instance, I don't think I have any results open, but let's go to my races. If I go to a past event here, so let's go to the Armed Forces. So on the actual results screen, what happens is if you go to the results, these results that are here, these names like 2016 Armed Forces 5K results, not only does name a specific event help you when you pull it into Agee, but it also kind of distinguishes an exact results within the software, or RunSignUp. So I don't know, I think it just makes it a little bit more clean rather than just saying like the 5K or the 10K, because if this event, I guess you can search by year there too. So this is, in previous years, you have the 5K run. I don't know. For me personally, I just like to see like the actual event name. That's why I have like the 2016 Armed Forces 5K rather than just the 5K. But I guess that's just me being me. All right. So get back on task here. So creating event overview, text message, and email alerts. So this is the great thing about the integration between RunSignUp and Agee. Now, when you go to create an event, and I should actually check on my races here. So if I go to my races and the summer extravaganza, just to make sure, in the search, I'm going to type in the notification. So results, custom notification, no. I know Brian's going to yell at me for not knowing exactly where this thing is, but I think we've all been there before.
Go RaceDay results setup.
Yeah, so go RaceDay results setup. Yeah, that was my next option there. But all right, so yeah, go RaceDay results, and then the first option is allow participants to sign up for text message and email notifications of results. So now, when you actually go time an event in Agee and you hit publish results, what happens is that anyone who has opted for this text message and emails will automatically get that as soon as you hit publish within the Agee software. So there are a few downsides to that, which we'll talk about, or not downsides, but just a few things to look out for. But at the same time, that's how you go about setting that up. So I knew how to do it. I was just testing Brian there at RunSignUp, make sure he was on top of it. So go RaceDay results and then setup. You want to make sure this first option is selected, so that way people can actually sign up for this. And now result notification reports. So for this event, if you go through again, what result notification reports, that gives you a breakdown of how many people have signed up for those specific notifications. So for this event I have coming up next month, the total notifications is 70, about 40% and 60% between text message and say emails. Now, what does that look on the other side of things? So if I go to that specific event, so Summer Extravaganza 10K, and this is important to consider too, that if you're going to test these things out, you should not use an actual race, because once you send a text message or once you publish results once, anyone who signed up for those text messages, that will be it for the whole time. So you couldn't resend it. Even I think even now, if I were to say, push results and just to test it out on race day, those participants wouldn't get their actual time. So if you wanted to kind of mess around with that text message and email option, I would not use an actual event. But I'll go through and at least show you like what I'm talking about. I won't actually publish, but let's say you start your time. I'm just going to adjust the clock so it's somewhat, we'll go like Galen Ruff style or Chris Linsky, say like 27 minutes. You go through. I think we have bid numbers in the 1,000 range, right? So you can just go through, enter a few people. Oh, wrong one. Okay, so now let's say you're going through. You can either hand time this, or you can use your RFID readers. But if I were to hit publish results right now, that would push everything live to RunSignUp. And if one of these 4 individuals had happened to sign up for text message alerts, they would get a text message on their phone right now, which you can see the downfalls to that. So you do not want to hit this if you're actually using a real event. Now it's kind of one of the downfalls, not downfalls, but just points of caution. That let's say, for instance, if you have published results, it takes a little while to go through. This is one thing I think Brian Agee might be working on in the future. Instead of like republishing a whole result set to just append the results that have already been up, it'd be much more efficient and quick. But if you have an event such as I had a half marathon with 650 finishers, when I hit publish results, it took maybe 2 or 3 minutes to go through and publish all results. So let's say I publish every 50 finishers. After the first 50, I'd hit publish results again, and it would republish the first 50 and then get into my next 50. So it takes a little bit of time, which hopefully in the future we can amend that and it'd be a bit quicker. But one other thing to look out for is I kind of hold off on publishing the first like 5 or so finishers. I might go with the first 50, because then you want to make sure. So like here, Kimberly is a female, Rachel, female. Let's say, for instance, you got this wrong and it was like a rogue chip read or just something that wasn't right. If you publish, all of a sudden you have like false hope on someone's phone or in their email saying, hey, you won the race, when actually they may not have. So I might off to the side be writing down like the bid numbers of the actual finishers, check over say the first 10 or 20, and then publish after that. That way you're more guaranteed to have the correct results flying up onto the web and to people's phones when it should be that way. But again, I'm not going to hit publish now because this race is already it hasn't yet happened, and I don't want to take the text messages from these athletes. So let me just restart this race, and I guess I can republish one of my results from where should we go? Yes, let's change an event here. So if I go back to, see, this is another sticky point with Agee too. I don't want to get too much into Agee. I'd rather stick to the integration, but I'm not going to republish an event here because I'm on a different computer, and this computer has a different start time than my other computer. So if I hit publish, it'll change everybody's time. So there's a few other things to consider there as well. And Brian, do you think I should go through that and mention something, or should I kind of stick to my topics that I have here?
Yeah, I think it'd probably be good to stay away from multi-computer setups right now.
Okay. All right, so let's go back to our discussion. So creating an event, we're good there. Overview, text message, email alerts, and then athlete types. I think many of us have maybe come across this on the forum at some point. The athlete types, you can have like runners or walkers, but often I don't really care for that because I would just have a different event. But athlete types, I've run into a situation when a race director wanted different reports for, say, like someone who was a member of their club or a non-member of their club. And if you go to custom questions, this is a question. So go to custom question, and I don't think I have one. There's nothing set up in this race. Let me go to a better race to show you what I mean by that. This is another big component of the Agee integration. Sorry, I guess it could be an intervention too. But I know for one race I did, the Keswick Hunt Club Foxtrot 5K. This race director, they wanted results by age division, and they also wanted results by if someone was a member of the club or a non-member. So what I'm going to do here is go to my registration question, and you can see here that I have a custom question. Are you a member of the Hunt Club? And it's a bullet question, yes or no. So it's either, obviously yes or no. My default was to a no, and I saved all that. Now within Agee, if you go to that Keswick Hunt Club Foxtrot, and you go to the events, I have my different athlete types. I have a non-member and a member. Now, as long as you have these set up the same in Agee and the same in RunSignUp, when you go to sync the participants, like you see here, it'll also pull in the athlete type. So you see here you have some non-members and other members. So again, to make sure you have all that set up correctly, in Agee, if you have a non-member and member, and then in RunSignUp, the custom question, are you a member of the Keswick Hunt Club? I have a yes or no here. It'll actually pull it in as a member or a non-member. So it's kind of interesting how all that works out, but it's a great integration with the two. Okay, so moving right along. Age divisions. So this is the first huge finding that Brian Agee I don't think has yet gotten to, but I think with the number of requests that are coming in, this is a big deal. So age division breakdowns, there's no such integration between Agee and RunSignUp or Agee in general. The only way you can get like the division breakdowns in Agee would be to print the division results report. But often if you have a results kiosk or if you have some other type of electronic results reporting at the site, it might show someone's place and time, but it won't show them what age group place they finished in or what gender place they finished in. So I'd like to go through kind of how to set this up both in RunSignUp and Agee. It's a little bit more work on your end, but showing you quickly what it's going to produce. If you go to any of my results set, what you'll see here is you'll have a division place and you'll have the division. So right next to it, you'll have like what place you finished per gender, and then also what place you finished. Well, this is a master's male, but then what place you finished, like say, in your age group. So it's really, really helpful, and I think it makes your results look a little bit more neat. And also with that in mind, if you go to like, say you have some sort of results kiosk, if you type in, say, a bib number, it would put it should put the results around there. Let's see real quick. That's probably a kids race. That's probably what the problem was there. Yeah, these are all kids. I'm getting lucky with the kids. Really lucky with the kids. Oh yeah, there it is. So if you look off to the side, it'll give the overall, the masters, and then the age division breakdown. So that's all provided to you right through your RunSignUp after you publish results. So with that in mind, if you have everything set up correctly and you publish results using that F9 option within Agee, things become really easy for your results reporting. And if you hit this one button, not only will you get the results up on the web, but you'll also get the division breakdowns like you would see in a results kiosk. So we'll get to this in a second. This is more of the last component of today's discussion, but just to kind of give you an overview of where we're heading. If you type in somebody's bib number, you get their breakdowns and also like their actual times. So it's really, really nice. Okay, so let's go through how to actually set this up. All right, so let's do it for this race that my up-and-coming race. I have to just kind of do it anyway. We won't go through all the specifics, but we'll go through the majority. So let's say we're going to time this 10K. I need to include the division reports, and I'll just do it for the males to save some time. But I'm going to include a division, and I'm going to say overall male. We're just going to give it the top place winner in that division. I think for you Agee users, you're kind of used to this this screen in terms of like how to set it up. Okay, so I have my description overall male. I have one winner, and I want to select my athlete types to be a runner, and I'm going to save that. So now I have that first category. And then let's go with like males 19 and under. So winners here. I go with like 100. That way I can get all the division reports if I were to print it from Agee, but it really doesn't matter what you set it as. If you are just going to give a printout to your race director, you might just want to go with the top 3. But for my sake, I think a lot of athletes like to see their name no matter where they finish. So the number of winners I'll say is 100. My ages are going to go from, I think it's just 1 to 19 will be fine. And let's go with my gap to be 10. And I'm going to exclude the overall males. And this is a lot of Agee setup. So I think if you have more questions on this, there's plenty of tutorials on the forums. But let's just say a few of these. So let's go next, male 20 to 29, exclude male 30 to 39, exclude the overall, male 40 to 49, exclude, and let's go last one, just save some time, male 50 and over. So we'll go 50 to 120 and exclude the overall. So these are my breakdowns. You can do it for male and female, but so it really didn't take that long to set up in Agee, but it would be nice in the future to have this integration between, when you hit sync to pull in not only athlete and participant information, but also division reports. But we'll get there, and there's a way around it. So this is the way around it. So I have all my divisions set up in Agee. Now going back to my RunSignUp page for my summer extravaganza 10K. I have my overall 19 and under, and then by 10 to 50 and over. Hopefully it's not too fast for you. So if I go back to my races, this is my summer extravaganza. I'm going to go to my race day, race divisions, and you want to set up the race divisions. Now these race divisions you want to match what you had in the Agee software. So I'm going to go to edit divisions. And again, the whole point of doing this is it'll provide you with these breakdowns of breakdown of like what place you finish as in your gender and what place you finish in your age group. So again, race divisions, set up, and then edit. And this is where things get a little bit tricky, but once you go through it 1 or 2 times, you'll be just fine. So what time should we use for placement in divisions? I mean, most of the time if you're using chips, you'd go with the chips. Now, this is one thing to be careful of, the overall division. Number of top finishers who receive an award. You may not think it, but it's going to be 0 here. And the reason it's 0 is because this is not taking into account any gender. So if you had one gender, then you can list whatever you would like there. But I don't want an overall division because you might have males and females mixed up in the top 3 or top 5 or top 10. So go with the 0 here. And it really doesn't matter. I'm going to go chip for everything. Now, the custom divisions. Notice there's only one here right now. But you want these divisions to match what we have in Agee. So we're going to have to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different divisions within RunSignUp. So division name, overall male, and the short name is male. And the reason you want to use a kind of a much abbreviated short name is going to a results report. If it gets too long, it kind of goes down to the next line. So be careful there. I mean, the shorter you can use, kind of the better. I think even here, like the M30 or 39, we can kind of make that a little bit expanded. But going back to this, so we have male, number to show in results. I think we just had the overall, so we'll stick with just the one. And we're going to go with chip time. And participants should be placed by age. No, that's not a big deal, but by gender is. Okay, so going through that. So overall male is my division name. My short name is male. I just want to show the top person, chip time, and then place them in there by the overall male. Now, had I put this number to show in the results to make it like 10, then if you're excluding the overalls from the age groups, it would exclude the top 10 rather than just the top one. So for the time being, it'll show everybody, right? So it'll show overall males and overall females all the way down, but you just want like the top person being, or in this case, top 3 being excluded from the age group awards. Okay, so I'm going to add the next one. It's a division name, right? Male, 19 and under. So I have male. We'll go male U19. Number shown in the results. So again, here it doesn't matter, so I might go back to my 100, just because that way you can show a bunch. Chip time. And now the option underneath, you have to select 2 different options. Participants should be automatically placed on age, so we'll go from 1 to 19, and then also by gender, by male. So it does get a little tedious, but at the same time, if your athletes and participants can know exactly what age group placing they had, I think it's worthwhile. And this can all be done months leading up to your event. It doesn't have to be done that morning or anything, so you have all the time in the world to do it. Next, male 20 to 29, and here I go male 20 to 29. Oop, we got a little bit quick. Number to show in the results. I'm going to go with, again, 100. Chip time. And then 2029, male. So I'm not going to go through any more than that. I think that's sufficient in terms of like how easy it is to set everything up. But I guess when race directors go by 5-year increments, it gets kind of tedious. But so I'm going to hit add race division again. You can continue on if you want to go through that process. But I don't want this one, so let's get rid of that one. So let's save.
And you can add, you could use the quick age group setup if you've got a lot there to kind of get you beyond, like once you set up the overalls, it can be, you can then use the quick age group setup for male and female for your 5-year increments there to save you from having to do a bunch of work there.
So see that, you learn something new every day. So is that in the assigned race divisions?
Actually, at the bottom of the page you're on.
Yeah. Oh, quick age group. Okay. Cool. So that's even better. So that'll do it all for you.
So obviously you don't want to do that for like your specialty ones like overall. Do you want to say anything about like how you've handled the Masters or anything like that?
Yeah, so I mean the Masters, again, within RunSignUp or Agee, they kind of go hand in hand. So whatever you do in, let's go back to Agee. Let's say, for instance, here you had male Masters. The winner, again, you're probably just going to give it as the top overall male Masters. And it's going to go from Masters aren't typically that young, right? 40 to 120 male. So again, you have a lot of different options within Agee. You want to exclude, well, that's another sticky point, but that's based on what the race director would like. Do you exclude the overall male or not? Probably not. And then, because if you're a Masters runner, you could probably win the race and win the Masters division, but that's really up to the race director's discretion. So I'll exclude some of the age groups just because, like, if you're a male Masters winner, you don't want to also double dip and win the age group awards. So I'm going to save that. So that's another category that we had just put in here. That's your male Masters. And I'm going to save that. Let me just go back because I like to save these in the right order because I think male Masters should take more precedent, right? So whatever order you have the divisions in here is the way the order would be printed out on the Agee report. So I think a male Masters should be kind of towards the cream of the crop, the better, the more important age group award. So, if you add another division in Agee, going back to RunSignUp, you would add a race division. So this would be male Masters, and I'll go with male Mast. I think that should be enough, and the number to show in results will be 1. And there's a few more settings you might want to check into here. So obviously, by gender, you want to check the male, and then also participants should be placed in this based on age. Well, of course, you want to go there from 40 to something crazy. I go with the 120 as Brian Agee has kind of embedded in us. And then based off chip time, And now here's another option: allow the winner of a higher priority or division to win this division. So if you're the overall winner, can you also win this? And I think the way I have it set up in AG, right? So male masters, I did not exclude the overall male, because I think if you're a 41-year-old and you win the race and you win the masters, in my opinion, you won both. But some other people might have different ways of going about that. But if we're going to be consistent here, I would also check that. That way, if you win the overall and your masters, you would win both, and the number one in the results would come next to your name. So like you would be the top male and the top male masters, but that didn't happen here. Okay, so that's an awesome feature, and I think it's only a matter of time until Brian AG gets this integrated. But for the time being, I don't know if a lot of people know about this, but it does give you your division, your breakdowns right on the results page without having to do a lot of work. Actually, you have to click one button. All done
Yeah,
for you.
Doug, do you want to click on somebody's name? I think you can also do some integrations with the finisher certificate as well.
All right, yeah. Let me. I just messed all this stuff up here. Let's go by chip time. Yeah, so we're gonna get. There's a lot of things you can get into here. So let's click on the this guy, Paul Bishop. Okay, so yeah, this is. We'll get to the certificate and video in just a second, but overall, he must have started towards the front, right? And then his finishing time is based off the chip time, and then his overall is 5 out of 219 overall male. So I guess he got beat by one female, but he was the Masters winner as well. And notice here, like the age group award, he's not part of because it was not included. Like if you're the overall males master, you couldn't win your age group; they're excluded. But to go to the view certificate, I think that's what Brian was getting at. All that information is directly put on that finisher certificate, which is a really, really nice feature of RunSignUp, and another good selling point for all you timers out there. That not many, or I don't think anyone else is doing something like this. But I mean, to be able to print that out and put it up on your wall, I think it looks really nice. And for timers, to have all this information right there, it looks, I think, fantastic, and that's what people want to see. I guess while we're here, let's check out one more thing. If you notice underneath that person's name, there's a video, and this is going to go into the results section. But basically, in all the events I timed, except for my last event because it was a monsoon, I just put a little waterproof Kodak camera at the finish line. So now, for instance, this person finished at 21 minutes and 14 seconds. If I click on my video, it's going to go to my YouTube video, and there's my finisher coming across the line. So I kind of have it started 5 minutes or so beforehand. I have my little clock in the background so people can see their time, through the video, not just like my clock's facing them as they finish, but also I just put a little. It's not the best clock in the world, but it gets the job done. But really, this is a nice thing because this particular individual finished at 21 minutes and 14 seconds. But then again, if I go back to my results, and let's say I have someone who finished on a way down the list. So let's say someone finished at 59, 59. The video jumps right to them, and that's them coming across at 50-59. I think their chips, got read pretty well. So it's really, really nice how all that works out, and I think for timers out there, this makes your business a bit more marketable. I mean, everybody likes to see themselves finish, and I don't know, it's not that hard to do. You upload a video to YouTube, and then to get this video actually up on RunSignUp, what you have to do there is go to that race, and go to a race anyway. So that one's done. That was the Armed Forces race, I think it was. And then if you go to go RaceDay, results, edit results, and then down here you have a video setting. Basically, you just type in a few different things. This is like a YouTube kind of identification number. I'm starting 5 seconds before, say, the actual finisher is coming in based on the clock time, and these are the offsets. So basically, the winning time was 19:45, and that person crossed the line at 10 seconds into the video. So, I'm watching the finish, and when I see the first finisher coming, I would start my video. In this case, I started at 10 seconds before that person crossed the line, so those are the offsets. And then once you do that, if you save the video, then you go to that first person. Let's see here, results. See 1945. You click the video. It's going to jump ahead 5 seconds because I have it offset to just 5 seconds prior to. So there's your winner. So pretty cool. So those are some of the there's me running down there to move my car too. But those are some things that you can get into, and I think it makes your results look awesome. And that's the beauty of RunSignUp and the integrations. Everything's maybe like a 1 or 2 click, but if you do a lot of work prior to that, things are pretty easy. All right, so let's get back on track here. I don't want to keep everybody too long. I think we talked about registration, might be good to go. So yeah, age divisions was a huge thing. If you set it up in RunSignUp, then everything's done for you with a matter of 1 click. And then results, I think we've talked about this. Maybe a few days will be done. But registration, I think that's the last big piece to this puzzle. And Brian, how in depth do you want me to go with this registration process here?
My thought is that let's focus a little bit more on the RaceDay registration. Certainly, we can assist anybody that's interested in like pre-registration type stuff. Maybe because I know that the RaceDay registration, whether it's packet pickup or day of, it's going to be something that's more sensitive for timers.
Okay, sounds great. So we'll kind of skip ahead. RaceDay registration through the kiosk. So this is something that I always use. I just bring my cell phone, turn it into a hotspot, and I just leave it near the registration table. So basically, I could bring anywhere from like 1 laptop to like 6 different, either a laptop, tablet. I think if you're going to get heavy into this, I might invest in some tablets. I think you can get them at Walmart, as the RunSignUp staff has been directing me to. You can go to Walmart and get some tablets for under $100 and throw them in a bag and you're good to go. But I like the laptop.
Yeah, and we are going to be making some hardware recommendations later this year with stuff you can buy through Amazon that's like, exactly the stuff that we recommend. So it's not like we're trying to sell it, but just recommendations. Right,
yeah. So basically, for a RaceDay registration, if you're going to use a kiosk, you just need to have something that can get internet connection. You can even use a cell phone if you want, but it's going to be it's a little bit small. So what I typically do is I ask the race director to provide me with a volunteer for each laptop at the registration table. That way, if there's a bunch of race days, the volunteer can type in somebody's name quicker than a participant coming and like learning and like saying, what do I have to do here? So to get a visual on this, if you go to the results kiosk, let's see here. So if I go to RaceDay registration, and this one's in the past, so kiosk mode. So again, go to RaceDay registration in kiosk mode. This is what you have to do on any of your computers or tablets or whatever you're going to use for a RaceDay registration. Now, enable kiosk mode, you want to check that, and then if you happen to allow registration through kiosk only, no matter when you check this, so let's say, for instance, if you're going to have a Saturday race, if you were to cut off registrations online and you check this button, you can no longer enter. No one can enter online. So if you want the participants to still have the ability to enter online, make sure you didn't check this box. But typically, you would want to check it if it is race day, because what you don't want happening is if someone's in their car in the parking lot and you don't have this button selected, they can go onto the regular registration page, sign up as they normally would 3 weeks prior to the race, and then show up at the table saying, where's my number, when they may not be in the system. Although if you're using the check-in app, it wouldn't really matter. But for me, I'd like to have kind of a clear cut. I provide the race director with a list of athletes on Thursday night. If anyone Thursday, like Friday or Saturday morning, I can go in and manually just assign a few more bib numbers, provide the race director with that information, and then switch over to kiosk mode. That way, anyone who has entered after that time would have to be at the tables registering. But then again, there's ways around that, but that's just kind of the style that I like to use, and I haven't missed anybody yet, so it's a good thing. So all of your computers or tablets, you go through and check on this box, and of course I put on one that's closed for this race. So let's go pick a different race.
One really important thing to talk about with the kiosk is making sure that you have registration period set up in the Race Wizard. And what that means is you have to have dates and pricing set up so that it knows that registration should be allowed. And when you were talking about only allowing registration through the kiosk, that's a really important option, because you may not want people to sign up at home anymore. You may only want them to sign up at the race site. But the thing that typically trips people up is that they don't have registration open at that time, and therefore you get the exact message that you just saw, which is online registration closed.
Exactly. So that's a great point. And then Yeah, you'll get an error if that's the case too, like saying like the kiosk is not available. If the kiosk isn't available, what that means is what Brian just mentioned, that you actually don't have a registration period open. So again, this race was on the 21st at 8 a.m. So you can see in the race wizard that the registration period went right up to the start time of the event. And the reason why that's needed is because there was a price increase on that Thursday night, so that's like the May 19th. That after that time, prices went up, and this last registration period here is basically for the kiosk. So some people might register on the Saturday, but really, you can see here there's like a jump in time, right? So 5:19 at midnight to 5:20 at 11 a.m. This is really just geared towards, they might have had like packet pickup, and I started the registration at 11 a.m. for them to the start time of the event. So just a nice thing to consider, and you have to have something open or else you'll get one of those error messages. But this is what the registration kiosk looks like. And for me, I like to have a volunteer there, typing in everybody's name and information rather than the individuals going through, because if participants show up, they're like, well, what do I do? It's just a lot quicker for someone to go through and say, hey, let me just type in your stuff for you. So you can go through and just type in some information. Let's go through and select a few things, and I just want to get to one thing here.
And while Doug's doing this, we are coming out with a new registration kiosk, kind of registration kiosk 2.0. It'll be iOS, Android, as well as web ready, and it's going to have a bunch of cool configuration options, including the ability to like turn on or turn off address, turn on or turn off T-shirts, and many other cool options for you. As well as we're going to support card swipes.
That's a big plus too. Yeah, so going through, it's basically some basic information. Choose events. There's nothing open on this one because the event's already passed. Yeah, this is a bad example. I'm sorry. Let's go back and have a race that's actually up and coming. That's my fault. All right, so my next race, the Summer Extravaganza. Go race day registration, kiosk. Enable kiosk. Got to save the changes. So again, Doug, Thomas E. Oops, getting too quick for my liking. Just type in some false information here. Waiver, choose event. So I'll go with the 5K run. Yeah, this is something they have here. And all those options are kind of, you can pick and choose what you actually need from participants. But the last option here is the payment. So you can pay with cash or check, or you can pay with credit card. If it comes on a credit card, I would then turn the computer over to the participant and they can enter their own information. But click continue to save your registrations, and you'll need to pay organizers with cash or check. So in a case like this, what I'd like to do is you can have this set up to have the next bib number given out, but in the results settings, I might say allow bib assignment through kiosk. And what that does is it actually gives you the ability to enter the number in hand. And that's just something I like to do, but I think other people like the automatic bib assignment. But yeah, so
yeah, there's different people that kind of falls all over the place. You're somewhat unusual that you like to kind of have that bib at the end. There's nothing wrong with it. There's not the most popular option. The more popular options are typically when you have a check-in system where you can check someone in and assign them a bib. So that's something else to consider, is you want to kind of figure out that process and figure out what works for you. That auto bib assignment at the end may be the thing for you, or some other options. We have plenty of options on that. That's definitely something you want to test out and figure out what works best for you and your team.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to mention there too, is like me and my team, it's basically, when I show up to an event, it's usually just me there. So if I have good volunteer help, you can have a bunch more features. So if your timing team can compose of a few competent people, then you might be able to use a few more options on the RunSignUp page than I can. But yeah, with a one-man show, most of the time it's kind of tough. But even like RaceDay check-in, this is an awesome feature that RunSignUp offers, and I think for certain people who pay a bunch of money for their chips, they don't want to have any gaps in their chips, and if they use 100 and only 60 show up, then they're out 40 or so bucks with chip costs right there. Whereas with the RaceDay registration, you can enter chip numbers and bib numbers as people come in, which RaceDay check-in, which could save some headaches, and I don't know, just not me. But if that's for you, then go for it and use it. So that's a good thing. All right, so winding down a little bit. RaceDay through kiosk, I think we did that. Syncing. Yeah, this is one thing to really be cautious of. Cautious with the chip start. So in Agee, I've noticed that if you don't have all the participants entered before the gun goes off and before you start capturing chip start times, those people will not get a chip start time. They'll just be defaulted to gun time. So for instance, if you have someone enter 1 minute before the start of the event and you don't sync it, and you don't sync those participants, right? If you don't click that button and sync, then they won't get a chip start time, which is not the end of the world. Also, if you notice on those cautions, caution with updating participants on website. Now let's say, for instance, like you notice someone enter really late. If you go to the sync button, you'll see one person come in, and then it'll say update website's participant list. I would hit no. The reason I would hit no, this is what I mentioned a while back, is if you hit yes and you have a slow internet connection, it's going to take a minute or 2 or 3 to update all those participants, especially if you have a really large race. And if now the race director might be waiting on you to say, are we ready? And you say no, because you can't start your race because it's going through its little updating. So I'm a big fan of hitting no. But then again, if you see someone enter, you hit sync, you'll have one new athlete. It'll pop that message, update website participant list. If you are right before race time, I would definitely hit no, because that way you can go to time race, go to your readers, capture chip start time, start listening, and then you're good to go in a matter of 30 or so seconds. Although it's going to mess up now because there's no readers attached. So those are the 2 cautions I'd be really cautious of. If they're not in the system before you start, they won't get a chip start time, and I would not update the website right before the gun goes off, because you might be waiting there if you have a slow internet connection or if your hotspot got slow on you. I think I just have like one or 2 last things. The results link. So if your event organizer has their standalone page and they want to publish results to that, you can actually provide them with the link to that link to your results prior to the event, even months out. So again, if you go to your Go Race Day, your results, and your setup, and I think most of you would know this, all the links here are unique to the race and they'll never change. So you can provide, like, say, the main results page to your event organizer. They can link that up with their page. So typically, or not typically, but when they leave the event site, they don't have to go back to the office and say, oh, here's the link. It's already done for them. Another good thing for your race directors, as I have in my outline here, a reminder to race directors to send final wrap-up email to participants. I think it makes you look better as a timer if your results are published quick. And if your race director is sending those emails, which I typically like them to do because I don't want to do that for them, you can actually set up the email to spit out, through RunSignUp, you can have the automatic email sent out at a specific time that you designate prior to the race. So really, RunSignUp has a lot of awesome features that save you a lot of headache after the event, because you can clean up from the event instead of going back to the office and updating the results and sending out an email. You can have that all done prior, and you just walk away and go home and enjoy your family and enjoy your dinner and things like that. So those are nice things about the RunSignUp. And I think, Brian, you had mentioned something about a results tablet. So for instance, instead of printing off age division results from Agee, you can actually give your race director a results tablet. I have yet not done this, but the results tablet, what it enables you to do is have, like, whenever you publish those results, the division breakdowns will be the most accurate and most live that you can possibly come across. Is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so it's something that I think people will start doing in the future is you can go to results.runsignup.com or install our iOS or Android, and because you've got your age division synced and set up on RunSignUp, they can just click drop downs and see the current age group standings. And if someone were to finish while the results are going on, like while the award ceremony is going on, you can actually update that while they're doing that if that tablet were to be on Wi-Fi. It does work without a connection, but you need to get a connection to get the results, and then you could go offline again.
Gotcha. So I pulled up that results.runsignup.com, and if instead of going to all, you would just go to like your female 12 and under, that will give you your listing of the 12s and under. So it is pretty neat. It could save some trees and some paper. And I know personally, in the half marathon I timed recently, there was one elderly woman who she was the only person in her age group, I think 80 and above, and the paper copies I had already printed, it didn't include her because she hadn't yet crossed the finish line before they started the age group awards. But had I been using something like this, if I hit publish, then all of a sudden the race director can just go, oh, let's go down to, female 70 and over, and then you have the one person there. So it could be a beneficial. Good.
Yeah, we do have one question that I think we probably could have covered earlier, which was, when you're publishing results up to our system, I get this question a lot, which is, if I publish the results 10 times for a 100 finisher race, am I, burning more and more text messaging? The answer is no. What we look at is once someone is up there, it's kind of a one-to-one relationship. Once you publish them up, the text is sent out. If you publish the results again, we're not going to send another text. So you're not going to burn a bunch of text publishing results 10 times with updates or changes or additions or subtractions and things like that.
Yeah, that's a great point. That's what I think I mentioned that before when I was like timing a race. If you had a finisher and you want to make sure that they're really correct before you even hit publish the first time, because if not, then you might be sending the wrong results and you can't undo it. So if you had like a rogue read, and let's say someone got their bib number, walked by the finish line, weren't even in the race, and all of a sudden they get a text message saying they won, things like that, you just have to kind of be mindful of and watch out for. So. But yeah.
Yeah, that's why I tell people this is like semi-live, like exactly what Doug's saying. You could basically make it live by hitting publish all the time, but there's some benefits to be able to look at that result data before actually publishing it to the web and sending out those text messages and propagating the kiosks and stuff. There's not much you can do after the first, say, 3 to 5 people come through, but I really like to look for the first male and the first female before I publish if I can. Just because I like to make sure that those things are correct.
Yeah. Perfect. And I guess my last order of business for this webinar today anyway would be, even if you're going to use a different registration platform, all the RunSignUp features are still available to you. So I think that's one reason why my business in terms of road races has grown. A lot of my current race directors, they were using some other registration platform that didn't have the video, that didn't have the finisher certificate, that didn't have a nice clean format, even like on like your phones. So a mobile setup with results. But I think RunSignUp, their formatting and things look great. So at times I might publish results to the registration platform that the race director may have used, but then I may also go through, quickly set up the event on RunSignUp, publish results on RunSignUp, and say, hey, can you also include that finishers videos are available at this link? And on several occasions, race directors have come back to me and say, can we just use RunSignUp for everything? And I was like, yeah, certainly, because the benefits of that is you hit one sync, you hit one button in terms of sync, and everything's good to go. If not, if you're using Agee, I kind of have a pre-made template in Excel, and that way, as people are coming in, I can kind of type their numbers in, and then, instead of hitting sync, you would hit import, and you can have all your data imported right away. But then again, as far as results are concerned and finisher certificates and all those goodies, I think it's really, really nice to have the RunSignUp option there for you. And I think that's all I got.
Okay.
Unless you have something else for me or whatever you think.
I think we've covered everything that I think we needed to cover today. I'm going to double check to see if we've got any questions that have come in beyond what one question we did have come in. The main thing that I did want to note is that this is going to be recorded. I think a lot of the people that are going to watch this, it is recorded. One of the things that when we were going through this that made a lot of sense to me is that we have how-to videos and blogs covering a lot of the topics that we talked about today, because I think, as best as you did, Doug, to try to explain things, we covered a lot of ground. But what we can do is when we release this video and send the email out with a link to watch the video at any time, we include some resources like for example, our bib assignment, our race day registration tools and things like that. So we'll have a bunch of links that are included in there that cover some of this information, so that if you're like, well, how in the world do you assign bib numbers? How do you do finisher videos? How do you, like, this sounds cool, but how in the world do you do some of this stuff? We'll include some of those resources to help people be able to learn a little bit more as they get intrigued by some of the stuff you've shown today, Doug.
Awesome.
Well, that's everything that I think we needed to cover. Thank you very much, Doug. I'm sure that people will be very appreciative of you kind of sharing your time and expertise and the blood, sweat, and tears you put into figuring this stuff out. So we appreciate you doing that with us, and thank you everyone for attending.
Thanks for having me, and hopefully you guys have some successful events out there.
All right. Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Take care. Bye.